what's your sense? Will it just become more of a divide, or is there some hope that will come together? We're in a presidential election year, which we definitely have some history in the making and some shakeups in the nature of politics. To see an African American as a Democratic nominee for president in a near a woman elected president as a nominee for the presidency, and in John McCain, a candidate who really doesn't fit the mainstream of his party in the first place. So if you had to assess today's politics, what would you say?
I think if we're going to get that kind of coming together leadership that we need so desperately, it's going to come from whoever's elected president. I say whoever's elected president. Hillary Clinton probably will not be the nominee, but I applaud her for persevering. I applaud her for being a woman and handling herself exceedingly well. I mean, she showed that you can be warm and friendly and still be strong and still be a leader. I certainly am pleased or congratulate Senator Obama for what appears to be his candidacy representing the Democratic Party. He has talked all along about change, and with change, he talks about bringing the parties together. I would submit that if he's elected president, he will have people of the other party involved in the cabinet in some way. And then looking to John McCain has always been considered the maverick, the independent. And he can prove it. He can prove it with campaign finance reform, with global warming, with immigration. And so I think that's historic. So I think from the top, you're going to see the desire to bring people together. And maybe with what happens in the congressional elections, people will snap out of where they've been and into where the people want them to be. So I'm encouraged.
When you talk about bringing people together, that's different than hardcore bloodbath partisan politics. That sounds a little bit more like diplomacy. So I want to take that moment and turn to another part of your career. After you left Congress, you became a U.S. ambassador, and I'm going to ask you to, first of all, explain the organization, because a lot of people are not familiar with this particular ambassadorship, but you had an opportunity to be in Paris for 4 to 5 years. And tell us a little bit about that experience.
I'd be delighted to. Most people really don't know what OECD, and it's because of the letters. But I don't think they're going to change the letters. It's the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It is a group of 30 countries, the most developed countries that represent like 75% of trade, 90% of the development aid, but only like 17% of the population of the world. It came about from the Marshall Plan that originally was the Organization for European Economic Cooperation, expanded in 1961 by Act of Congress to include Pacific Rim countries and North American countries. So 30 of the most industrialized countries working on conventions, best practices, soft law, and a lot of great statistical work. So I sat around a table as an ambassador from one of those 30 countries with 29 other countries represented, and we forged compromises. We had to. We dealt by consensus. Consensus means everybody's got to agree. So if everyone has to agree, maybe the process is a little slower, but it's more deliberative, and you end up with a product where people can leave and say, this is what we will be doing. Like anti-bribery. Anti-bribery convention came from that. Corporate governance came from that. So it was a wonderful experience. But you mentioned diplomacy, very appropriately so, because I think that in order to accomplish anything, you have to listen to the other side and learn, and then you lead. But I think it's important you develop credibility by virtue of your integrity and your interest in other people in other countries.
We have a couple of minutes ahead of us, and I want to turn back to your chance to sort of expand on what you did in speaking to the students or the graduates of Montgomery College and giving them some advice. You're focused on politics and what kind of a country we're going to have, and you spent a lot of time thinking about the future. Looking at the young people of today, how do you assess the state of our country looking ahead?
I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited. I have great confidence in the young people. The young people I've worked with are very interested in this campaign more than ever before. The statistics are showing they have registered and they are working on campaigns. More and more of them are interested in public service in some way. I'm trying to do all I can to encourage more of it with federal government, foreign service, Peace Corps. There's so many other ways that they can serve. And yet, you know, we have the information technology, so they can do remarkable things with the snap of fingers. But I am also interested in the fact that I met Robert Putnam at Harvard, who wrote the book Bowling Alone, where he said, we used to bowl in leagues, but now we bowl alone. And that's too bad, because we are not spending enough time in community, in being close to each other, in communicating, in working together. Members in clubs have gone down, the numbers of people who belong to clubs. People are very absorbed in their lives. So I see what we need to do is use this information technology to let us know that globalization is here and level the playing field, but also to promote communities and to promote public service.
You're talking about your hopes for today's young people, and we spent a lot of time talking about your incredible career in politics and teaching and everything, but anybody listening would know that you are still thinking and have a lot of plans ahead. So I guess I want to ask you, Connie Morella, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Well, I haven't reached the point where I have to make that decision yet. So I don't know, but I just think life is an adventure, and I've just been very fortunate. You know, when you introduce me, you engage in hyperbole. I am no Wonder Woman, and we all juggle, and sometimes the balls might fall. But I think that we live in a great country, we have great opportunities, and I just think we should appreciate what we have and move to try to make it better.
So these days, how are you and Tony spending most of your time these days? It seems like your phone is ringing and you're off doing things. Will you be back at Harvard anytime soon? Or
I'm really not sure what I'm going to be doing, Steve. Possibility, maybe, maybe not. But I am on a couple of boards that are nonprofit boards. One of them that's interesting is the board of the Government Accountability Office, and that is the Comptroller General. I'm on that advisory board with some notables throughout the country.
You never get service anywhere out of your vision, and you've served Montgomery County and served our country, and certainly served the students of Montgomery College well over the years. And it's been great to have you with us today. Connie Morella, thank you for joining us.
It's been a delight for me. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much.
You've been watching Campus Conversations, and we've been catching up with Connie. If you have comments about today's show or suggestions for future episodes, you can send us an email at campus.conversations@montgomerycollege.edu. For all of us here at Campus Conversations, I'm Steve Simon. Thanks for watching.